The Sony FX30, a6700, and ZV-E10 Mark II are all great APS-C cameras in the Sony lineup, but they're actually not good, better, best. They're actually three different paths: the beginner creator, hybrid creator, or video first filmmaker. If you're deciding between these three cameras, the mistake is actually deciding based on price instead of purpose. The most expensive camera is not necessarily the right purchase or upgrade. All three of these cameras have the same exact sensor. So this is not a spec war. This is a feature, purpose, and use case decision. So whether you're thinking about buying one of these as your first camera or you're looking to upgrade, we're gonna break down exactly which one you should buy in this video. So let's talk about it. Having a mic on a stand just really gives you that urge to basically bust open the entire video right now and give you the simple questions to answer on which camera you should buy. Let's go. If you're coming from a phone and mostly doing YouTube videos, buy the ZV-E10 Mark II. If you shoot photos and videos and you want one camera to do everything, the a6700. If you mostly shoot video, interviews, client work, or anything where you need to rig out your camera, it's the FX30. If you already own the ZV-E10 Mark I, skip the Mark II and go straight for the a6700, FX30, or a full frame. If you want something that you can travel with that's also a hybrid, the a6700. If you want the most beginner Sony camera, the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, of these three choices, obviously. So that was the overview. I basically just gave away the entire video in the first few seconds. Now let's actually do the deep dive. Let's start out by talking about the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II. This is what I like to call the easy creator camera. This is for someone that wants to be able to make YouTube videos without overthinking it. This camera is super tiny, it's lightweight, it's portable, easy to carry with you. You can get those smaller APS-C lenses to go with it that look incredible, but still have a smaller form factor so that your entire setup stays nice and lightweight. It's also really easy to use and set up, with even some of the creative profiles looking incredible straight out of camera, but it does also come with that S-Log 3 for some more advanced color grading and dynamic range. It's got 10-bit video, 4K 60 frames per second. It's got a flip screen for easy vlogging and filming yourself. It has Sony's newer menu system than compared to the ZV Mark I. But we're not here to oversell these cameras. Let's talk about some of its weaknesses that you need to consider. You always need to think about the cons when purchasing a camera. It does not have in-body image stabilization. It only has the digital stabilization that you can use, and you can definitely tell that this thing does not have IBIS. So that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about this camera compared to the other three. This is the only one that does not have IBIS. It also does not have a viewfinder, the electronic viewfinder, and it doesn't have a mechanical shutter. So that's why this is not going to be as good for photos, but mainly leans toward beginner video is where it really shines. So who is this camera for? This is for beginner YouTubers, vloggers, someone that's wanting to get started that wants a camera that's easy to use. If you're only going to be using it for talking head and you don't have to handhold it a whole lot, and for creators who care more about ease of use than they do pro features. So while this is not necessarily the best camera that we're talking about today, this might be the perfect camera for you if you meet all this criteria and you're just getting started, you want something that's more affordable, and you don't necessarily need IBIS or some of those more advanced features. If you want something that's easy to use, easy for vlogging, easy for beginner video creator, this is your camera. Now, let's talk about the a6700. This is the best all-around hybrid camera from these three cameras that we're talking about, and it's potentially one of the best all-around APS-C cameras on the market. So we've got the same sensor as the ZV-E10 Mark II, but we're adding in some pro-level features that makes this camera really feel like a hybrid camera. You've got an EVF, mechanical shutter, 4K at 120 frames per second, and IBIS, along with having that AI chip that really helps the autofocus be a lot faster and the overall processing to be faster. But again, let's stop and look at some of these cons and weaknesses of this camera. It's not really as production ready as the FX30. It doesn't have the cinema body design. It doesn't have a fan for cooling and heat dissipation. It doesn't have a dual card slot setup or tally lamps, or the ability to add on the XLR top handle. So if your future is really heading towards video production being like 80% of what you do, you may want to go for the FX30 over the a6700 because of some of these reasons. But the a6700 for this video is probably what I would recommend for most people. Again, most people not being super beginner creators or video completely focused 80 to 90% filmmakers. So let's move on and talk about the FX30. It's obviously the most expensive option that we're talking about. It's got that cinema body. You're entering into the Sony cinema line, which gives you some more advanced video features. It's got the fan, 4K 120, 10-bit 422, dual card slots, and dual base ISO in S-Log3, plus the ability to support that XLR top handle that you can also use on the FX3. So let's call out the cons and weaknesses of this camera. It doesn't have an EVF. It is definitely more video first than it is photo first. And that means it's just really geared more for video than it is for photo. So if you're someone that's really wanting to do both, you may want to consider that. So who is this camera for? This is for filmmakers, serious YouTubers, client video shooters, interview shooters, people that rig out their cameras, and if you're someone that's going to be doing like really long recording sessions. Plus, this is that first step towards an FX3. So if you're wanting to head in that direction, this is a really good place to start. The FX30 is definitely overkill for the beginner, but it's not overpriced if you're actually serious about video production. The mistake would be buying an FX30 just because you think it's gonna make your footage look cinematic automatically because it has cinema in the name. That is not the case, and you could make a Sony ZV-E10 II look better than the FX30 based on your knowledge and skills of using the camera, lighting, audio, and setup. So that was just a quick deep dive overview of each of these three cameras. Let's do a quick comparison of the main features and categories you need to pay attention to with these three cameras. Hey, pause. I'm just going to jump in real quick. Yeah, it's me from the future. You're going to see this clip with this background at the end of this video. But I just wanted to quickly say, if you're still not sure which Sony camera you should buy and you're thinking about like full frame, APS-C, what do I choose? What do I do? I have a cool little Sony camera quiz that you can take. It's really fun. You can just check mark like, oh, I want to be a hybrid, or I want photo or video, and these are the specs that I want. And it'll give you a camera suggestion. I mean, it's totally just a recommendation, but just check it out. Click the link in the description to check out my Sony camera quiz, and back to post me. But isn't this a cool shot? You'll see this in just a few minutes. Okay, bye. First up, let's talk about image quality. These cameras are actually really similar in image quality because they all have the same sensor, which is a 26 megapixel APS-C sensor. The real difference between these three cameras, as we've already discussed, is not necessarily the sensor. It's in stabilization, body design, video tools, heat management, and how you actually shoot with the camera. So image quality is kind of a moot point. Moving on, let's talk about stabilization next. The Sony ZV-E10 II only has the electronic stabilization, as well as if you have stabilization on a lens that you're using. The Sony a6700 and FX30 both have 5-axis in-body image stabilization. So we know who the clear winner is here, don't we? There's two clear winners for image stabilization. Number 3, let's talk about photography. I don't know why I did that. The ZV-E10 II is obviously going to be the weakest here. It doesn't have an electronic viewfinder, and it doesn't have a mechanical shutter. The a6700 is going to be the best for photo and video balance. I say it's the best for photo kind of period because it does have the EVF and the mechanical shutter. And then of course the FX30, kind of the same thing. Again, it doesn't have the viewfinder and is really better for video. But here's the thing is like all three of these cameras take photos and they have the same megapixel count. So they take the same photos. It's just going to be those little differences. So I really think the a6700 is your clear winner for photography. Number 4, video production. There's obviously a clear winner here. We have talked about this many times in this video so far. The FX30 is the best one for video, clear winner. The Sony ZV-E10 II is the best for beginner video. The a6700 is best for the hybrid video, and the FX30 is the best for video. And lastly, we're going to talk about, how easy it is to use, the beginner friendliness of the camera, if you would put it that way. The Sony ZV-E10 II is obviously going to be like a 9 out of 10 as far as beginner ease of use. Then you go up to the a6700. There's kind of like a clear path here if you've been seeing this clear path. A little bit more advanced, and then the FX30 is way more of a learning curve than blah, 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 down. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 3. Now let's move to the next section of this video where we're going to talk about what upgrade path you should take, because there are 3 paths and you must choose the correct path. We're back on our super cinematic anamorphic lens because we have to choose the right upgrade path. So let's talk about this. Oh, didn't mean to cue the intro again. Ignore that. If you currently own the Sony ZV-E10 I would skip upgrading to the Mark II and either consider getting really good at my Sony ZV-E10 Mark I, upgrading my lighting, my audio, my setup, and some better lenses. Or if you're ready to actually upgrade, I would go for the a6700, the FX30, or I would just jump all the way to full frame. If you're coming from a phone, I would recommend the ZV-E10 Mark II unless you're really interested in photography or you know for sure sure you want to be a serious filmmaker and have the budget for upgrading to the a6700 or the FX30. If you already know that you want to do client work, I would skip the ZV-E10 Mark II. I would go straight for the FX30 or the a6700 depending on what type of client work you want to do. And if you know right off the bat that you want to shoot photo and video equally, I would go with the a6700. So to kind of summarize that, the ZV-E10 Mark II is for creators that want better video with no hassle and no complication. If you're just going to be mostly shooting on a tripod, you don't even have to worry about IBIS. You can always get a gimbal, shoot on a tripod, or find other ways to work around not having IBIS. The a6700 is clearly for the hybrid shooter that wants to be able to do photo and video equally well. And the FX30 is clearly the camera for you if you do 80% or more video and you want those video features. You need to record for a long time, don't want to ever worry about, overheating, has the fan built in, and all those video tools that you might need if you're serious about doing filmmaking. And whatever you do, don't buy the wrong one. That kind of seems like, cliche and all that, but seriously though, do your research. But even if you buy one, you can always resell it, or you can always upgrade, you can change it, you can swap it, you can trade it. You really can't go wrong with the cameras nowadays. It's going to produce a great image. Just learn how to use it well and learn lighting and storytelling and audio. And you can make an iPhone look cinematic if you learn all of those things. It's the skills that do matter more. But this video was to help you choose the right tool for the right purpose for what you're going to be shooting. It's not all about just the specs or the one that's the most expensive. Because if you're someone that's just like, I just want to shoot some YouTube videos, I just want good quality, don't want to hassle, just want to be able to turn it on, it's easy to use, then the FX30 is probably not the camera for you. The ZV-E10 Mark II probably is. So it's not necessarily about price or specs. It's about purpose, what you're going to shoot, and what the tool does for you. So yeah, if you liked this video, let me know in the comments down below which one of these cameras that you might be wanting to upgrade to, already own, hate, I want to know. And if you enjoyed this video and are still not sure which Sony camera to buy, click that link in the description and take my Sony camera quiz. But then go watch this video right over here where I go over like every camera in the Sony camera lineup and explain all of them. It's right there. Just click on it. You'll probably like it. I'm in it, so. Oh, I think I finished it. I hope that I covered everything. If I didn't, shame on me. Filming at night, I'm so unhinged. Oh, this has such a non-close focus distance. Not any closer, right there. Yep.